Hi everybody, welcome to our channel, Questions and Answers on Immigration to Canada. My name is Alex Davidson, and today let us talk a little bit about tourist visas to Canada. And starting from the beginning, there are no tourist visas to Canada. There is no such class of a visa which is called tourist visa. Okay, compared to United States, compared to Europe, we do not have separate tourist visas. We got the class of visas which is called temporary resident visa. Okay, that's and business visa, visiting relatives, strictly tourist purposes, all of this would classify under tourist temporary resident status visa. Okay, now getting to this visa, how to obtain one, how to get a temporary resident status visa to Canada. In order to get this visa, one would have to prepare the documents, fill out the forms, and apply to the nearest visa center. Speaking about documents, there is no set of documents speaking about forms, there is a set of forms, but there is no definite set of documents which one has to provide. Okay, so you are free to provide a minimum amount of documents. Usually it would be like airline tickets, your bank statement, and your passport. That would be enough, right? Enough does not mean it would satisfy visa officer, but that's the minimum requirement. But you're free to submit as many documents as you wish to support your application. And now we're getting to the core of this video. So support an application, I will probably say there are 3 separate points which you would have to explain to a visa officer, or your documents would have to explain, because 99.9% you will not be allowed to talk to anybody. No one would give you a call, nobody would call you for an interview. 99.9% of applications would be processed without you. So the documents which you prepare would have to satisfy 3 separate points. Point number 1, why you're coming to Canada. And please, for God's sake, leave Niagara Falls aside, okay? Just forget about it. Come up with something more tangible, come up with something more realistic, okay? Because what I hear, like 90% of people somehow are trying to mention Niagara Falls. Look, Niagara Falls is visible from United States as well, right? It's not a just reason applying for Canadian visa. I mean, for some are, if you got like 100 of visas in your passport, if you have traveled 150 countries around the globe, you're a globe trotter, why not come in and see Niagara Falls as well if you haven't seen it before? But probably it's not a good reason. Find yourself something better. You love hockey, go and see Hockey Hall of Fame in Montreal, in Toronto. If you love Maple Leafs, maybe you do, but find yourself something better than that, okay? Probably you got friends or relatives. Contact them. Maybe they would be able to write a letter of support inviting you to Canada. There's no official invitation to our country, but maybe they would be able to draft a letter. If they don't know how to do this, well, they could contact us. I will share with you like tips and ideas. Now, reason for coming to Canada should be something tangible. Maybe you're going on business exhibition, maybe you're coming to visit friends or relatives, maybe you got tourist attractions, but again, something more tangible and something more than Niagara Falls. Reason number 2, or option number 2, thing number 2, which you have to explain in your documents, how would you support yourself financially while you're coming to Canada? And I hear that here and there all the time. Look, I was coming to my relatives, I was refused because I showed only a couple $1,000s in my account, but my relatives, they just put it in their statement that they would support me. Look, you're over 18 years old, probably, and even if your relatives are working in Canada, if they're well off in here, it does not necessarily mean that they would definitely support you. The letter they provide to the Minister of Citizenship and Immigration is something you can just throw away. It's not a definite document. It doesn't prove anything. Using this letter, you will not be able to sue your relatives if they just tell you, look, go out, we don't like you anymore, just throw you at the street. Where would you go? Do you have enough money in your pocket to stay in a hotel, to feed yourself? Well, you have to, okay? So prove that you got enough funds in your pocket, on your bank account, to support yourself, right? It's not your last stand, it's not your last money. Now, third point, that's probably the most important one. What would make you get yourself back home, okay? What would drive you forward not to stay in Canada? Because let's face it, in 80% of countries in the world, a monthly salary would be lower than weekly salary in McDonald's in Canada, okay? Of course, visa officers looking at your application, weighing those pros and cons, would look at this as well, right? So is there any reason for you to stay in Canada, even illegally, or claim refugee status, or try using whatever means, legal or illegal, to stay in here? If yes, you have to convince him or her that there are high chances that you would return home. So you got a family to take care of, mention it. You got cats and dogs? Look, mention that as well. You're employed, you're earning well enough, provide the letter of employment, okay? Show that you got it. You're getting back from vacations in Canada and immediately you got a business trip to China and from China to Singapore. Show it, okay? Show that proof as well. You're running a business? Demonstrate that this is a well-off business and this business would just disappear without your guidance and without your support. So you're that important. It's that important for you to get back. You got a family living aside, like your wife or your husband and children. Show it as well. Okay, use whatever resources possible. Every means you could find to support your application. Do not forget about them. I'm not saying just throw everything in one bag and submit it, but be absolutely reasonable. 1, 2, and 3 would probably secure yourself and give yourself like pretty tangible chances for getting Canadian visa. If you need any support on that, if you want to discuss your situation or want us to take care of your visa, our contacts at the end of the video. Stay tuned with us.